Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Meditations with Josh and friends. Today we're wrapping up our study of the book of Judges, which we've been in for about 2 weeks. And the final episode is pretty disturbing. We're looking at chapters 18 through 21. And this is sort of another example, like we talked about yesterday, how of the climate of what was going on in Israel at the time among the people in different parts of the Transjordan area, also known as Canaan. And it's sort of this capstone to this long slide into Israel's depravity and idolatry and anarchy and things like that. So men from the tribe from Dan, they end up stealing Micah's entire religious enterprise, including his priest, who's a Levite, and the idol that he's made of silver that he stole from his mother, but then got it back, and is that whole weird thing. But they take all this stuff and they just run off with it, and they go and they're trying to find their own land. And in the process, the Levite, the priest, he picks up his own concubine, which is sort of a revealing of his moral standing in life. As a Levite, he's not even married to this woman. She's just a concubine. And as a priest, he's not supposed to have a concubine. It's like living together but not being married, and all that stuff. So the Levite gets in this domestic spat with his concubine, his girlfriend, on the side. And she goes home to Bethlehem to live with her father's house because she doesn't have anything. And he starts to miss her a little bit, so he goes to Bethlehem after her and ends up going on this 5-day drinking binge with her father, who is really liking him. He doesn't want him to leave, and every time he tries to leave, her father's like, "Nah, stay another day. Get up early tomorrow. Just stay another day." So eventually, he's like, "Look, I gotta go, man. I gotta get on the road. I gotta go." So he takes this girl, his concubine, and they leave. And before long, they find themselves in this town, a village of the tribe of Benjamin, and it's dusk. It's getting dark. They don't know anybody there, and they're sort of at the mercy of somebody in the town taking them in, which was very common in the day. It wasn't like they could just pop into a Marriott or a Hilton and get a room for the night. They had to rely on the hospitality of others, which hospitality is a huge, huge thing in the Middle East. So anyway, nobody takes him in. And then finally, there's this old guy. He's coming in from the field who's been working late. And he sees them sort of standing in the town square. And he's like, "Hey, what are you doing? You can't just be hanging out here, And they're like, "Well, nobody invited us in, so we don't have any choice." And the guy says, "All right, well, come home with me." Turns out that the Levite and this guy, they're from the same place, so they've got lots to talk about. And then we see sort of this repeat of Sodom and Gomorrah happen, where the men of the village of the Benjamites, they surround this old guy's house and they start banging on the door and demanding that the old man bring the stranger out so that they can rape him. Yes, you heard me correctly. 19 through 22. Judges 19 through 22. And the old man, not wanting to be showing poor hospitality, he tries to protect the man by saying, "Look, you don't want this guy. Look, I have a virgin daughter. You can take her and you can do whatever you want with her, essentially. You can rape her instead." And so that's sort of kicked around the idea. And eventually what happens is the man offers the Levite's concubine for the men to pleasure themselves with instead. And that's what ends up happening. The Levite himself kicks the concubine out the door, and they rape her so badly that she ends up dying. The next morning, the Levite wakes up. He's about to get on his way. He sort of looks down and he's like, "Hey, what's the deal? Why are you sleeping?" And she's dead. So he does an even more disturbing thing than what he's just done, and he dismembers her body. He cuts her up into pieces and sends those pieces to the other tribes of Israel, who receive these pieces and they're so deeply disturbed at the news that is accompanying these body parts about what the tribe of Benjamin has done, that they retaliate against the tribe of Benjamin and they nearly wipe it out completely. Although there is a remnant left, and Benjamin is spared as a tribe. But this whole thing is just really showcasing exactly what happens to a people, to a nation, when they do not have God and they do not have godly leadership to keep them on course, to help them develop healthy morals, a religious life, a spiritual framework to go off of every day. And it really highlights the closing line, which is, in those days, Israel had no king, and the people did what was right in their own eyes. Judges 21:25. So, again, it highlights the fact that without God and without leadership, people will be left to their own devices, their own desires, and inevitably slide so far into spiritual depravity that they do these horrible, horrible things, which can be seen all over the world today. So arguably, it could be something that's happening in America right now. A lot of people seem to think that, but it's certainly a thing. So let me know what you think, guys. That concludes our study of Judges. I'd love to hear your thoughts and your ideas for new topics. I think I'm looking at taking a break here pretty soon from doing these morning meditations. Probably in the month of August, I may take some time to just reset and look at some other options of what we could do to stay connected as a church as we continue to do some studying in addition to our regular Sunday worship and things like that. So I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow.